Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, from the beginning of our human existence to today, that every human beings look for happiness and satisfaction. And at the same time, people have a struggle to find the freedom. So we always look for the freedom. And today we're going to see how through this meditation practice, you gain the freedom and what is the meaning of that freedom. And how you can be free through this spiritual development. So first we have to look what the freedom that we mean. And sometimes for people, and whatever when they want to do, they take it as the freedom. But for some people, the freedom is kind of like, if they depending from something, and when they have that opportunity to go towards that, they think that it has a freedom. And when we look this conventional life and thinking for freedom, and out of that freedom, whatever we gain, then we start to have responsibility to maintain. And we are responsible for whatever we gain. And then what happens by the time we lose our freedom because of the things where we go the gain. So then it's not going to be kind of like a complete freedom. When it comes to our human life, the one of the major important thing that you have to understand, we look for our purpose of life, and we look for our meaning of life. When it comes to this all, the most important one of the thing is the value. So your values, yourself. In the ancient time, this called as the Dharma, what you hold it to. what you really appreciate or what you stand for or what you become. So that's become your value and how much you appreciate it and how much you understand your value as a human being. And when your values, it doesn't matter the person to person, by age, and according to the environment, the culture, tradition, the people's values sometimes different. But when it comes to fundamental human values as human beings, that your deeper desire, when you can't express, when you can't bring it through you to the world, what you mean by life, when you can't bring it out of you, then you feel like you are in the prison. So what is the freedom means that whatever the value that you understand yourself, when you have opportunity to bring it out of you, then you feel it's kind of like the freedom. But the thing is, before we go to mental level, even in the very physical, in this very conventional life, with the material world, we don't have that freedom. So as example, so you bring some food, thinking, oh, today evening I'm going to cook and watching a movie, I'm going to eat this. Or maybe you planning to invite some friends, and then with that friends you're going to have a little gathering. So you bring some food, and then it is there, and then you invite more people and you start to cook. So then by the time you that everything done, after everybody go, maybe tomorrow, after day after tomorrow, maybe after 1 week, when you open the refrigerator, you find out some things that you brought it to share with your friends. But it didn't happen. You forgot it. So that deeper, the desire didn't come out of you. So then what happens when, oh my goodness. So then the unhappiness arises. Why? Because the deeper that your desire didn't came out of through you. And how many clothes that you bought? And if you open your closet and you wear it, and just yourself, and you show up in front of the mirror and thinking, oh, I go to this party, I go to that party, I go for this vacation, I go out wearing this, so like that. But it didn't happen. See, that you have a deeper desire to express, but it didn't came out of you. It didn't come out of you. So when it happened like that way, what happened deeper in you? Unhappiness, depression. It's kind of like you feel like you are trapped. Why? Because you can't express that real who you are. And then you always in a struggle. So this is what happened mentally also. When deeper, that when we have our deeper inner values, that whatever the principles that you hold it yourself as a person, when you can't express it through you, then deeper unhappiness, unsatisfaction, anger, emotional breakdown, these things happens. So that the freedom means then, when your real expression come out of you, that is a kind of like a freedom. So the physical freedom with the material world, and with your mind, when you're able to express that your life out of your actions to the world, then you feel free. So then it's kind of like a mental skill. Why? Before it comes as an action, there is a change happen in your body and mind. In neuroscience, it's talk about the brain, but it is just not only the brain. Because it is a kind of that day by day, you grow. And at the same time, your head to toes, each and every cell transform. So this is a kind of like evolution. And the mentally also what happens, whatever when you can't engage, listen this very carefully and try to understand it, what happened in your mind. When the brain can't engage with something, when you can't engage with something, the brain have a nature to drop it, disconnect from it. So then when you have some values, the principles, understanding, and that values, if the life doesn't bring it out of actions, naturally what happens, the brain start to separate from it. And then mentally you feel kind of like so weak. And as a result of that, what happens, you start to depend on others' ideas. And you start to listen to others. You go with whatever the other people believe or say, and maybe you go to psychic people, and maybe you start to look for the stars, and maybe you go to horoscope and fortune tellers. So because deeply you are yourself, you're disconnecting from that inner ability to become who you are. And then maybe the others' opinions start to overtake your life. And then you are a human being, but mostly then you become kind of like a puppet. Your behavior, you don't see. And sometimes it can happen even the spiritual path also. And you practice meditation, you do chanting, puja, and then by the time what happens, the deeper that deeper your inner experience doesn't come, and then deeply that you recognize, oh, your nerve system, your brain, your neurons start to disconnect from that all the practice, and then you think, oh, maybe I can't do it. Only that person can do. Oh, only that monk can do this. Oh, only that guru can do it. Oh, only that teacher can do it. I can't do it. That is where you become a follower. You start to believe and you start to worship. And then you become just a kind of like a student. You are forever student. You go behind. Don't blame to anybody. It is your own mistake. You are the one who put you into that situation. Why? Because deeply, you didn't have the wisdom yourself to become very clear. And you become a believer and you become a follower. And then you think, you put yourself to a situation, minimize your mental abilities. And then as a human being, even you're not going to experience this human life. But when it comes to this practice, it's not like that. We all have the same ability to experience the highest level of this human mind. So any human being, if they practice in a proper way, they all can achieve to enlightenment or the liberation. Even if anybody willing to become the Buddha, one day if she start to follow the right method, then she or he can become a Buddha. What is the basic principle to become a millionaire? Just do what the millionaires that does, and how if you start to follow the same things that whatever they start to do, and then you also going to become like that. So to become a Buddha and start to follow what the Buddha did, to become an enlightened person, so just start to follow what the path tells you, and that way you have opportunity. But ourselves, we put into situation, and the very first thing is you don't recognize your own values. That is the one of the major mistake we does. You don't recognize your own values, you don't recognize who you are, you don't recognize your major principles. That means you never tune to the real Dharma as who you are. What you want to bring out of it. What you really want to bring out of your bodily, verbally, mentally actions to this world. What is the true expression that yourself? What is the fulfillment of this life yourself? When you don't have it, what happens? Out of that depression, anger, hatred, and what you say, let me have my life. That's what we say. Let me get out of this and let me have my life. Let me live my life. How many people struggle? How many people shout? They are not in the prison. They are at home as a husband, wife, children, parents, brothers, sisters, friends, and family. And they just like ordinary people. But still, how in their mind they shout like that? Let me have my life. Let me live my life. What is that? That means that person didn't bring the truest expression through his actions. So then, that when you start to practice meditation, what happens? So what is this meditation will take that help, and how it help for you to change the situation? This is the very behavior of the brain. So the brain, so as you know, if you start to use your brain day by day, that it start to become better. Rather than break down, so the very principle of the neurons in our brain, according to the neuroscience, everybody knows it is a basic principle nowadays. It is not a rocket science. So when you can't engage your neurons, what happens? It disconnect itself. So another thing is, when you able to engage, it bring the connection. So if the neurons more and more get connected, your mental ability become very clear. So that means when your true expression come out of you, that your mental ability become more clear and it get connect more and more. So what is the basic principle that the exercise that you can do in day-to-day life? with your action fully engage, even if you clean, use your all joints, all muscles, the whole body, bring it to that work. Even if you having a shower, bring your whole body, engage with the action. If you walk, bring your whole body into action. So that's mean what? When the consciously you physically engage with the action, and in that very moment what happens, your brain your neurons start to get connect. Rather than disconnecting, it start to get connect. And as you know, an ordinary person, only 10% of our human brain we use, only 10%. So the Buddha is like 100%, all the neurons interconnected and the 100% of the brain active. But ourselves have the more than half of the brain in sleeping mood. So the meditation allows you to activate it. So the very basic principle then in physically, so engage with your whole body and bring your whole action, the mind to that. Another thing is, do things with the happy mind. For this basic conventional life, even not about meditation, do things with the happy mind. Because if you engage with the unhappy mind deeply, your neurons start to disconnect. So once you start to engage with the happy mind, your neurons start to get connect. So once the neurons start to get connect, and your body and mind, as you know, you have a nerve system. It is not a one side of the brain or the one side of the nerve system work. There was a kind of like a people used to believe that, oh, you do these things from your left side, you do this thing from your right side. It's not like that anymore. It's already gone. Now they know your whole body, whole brain work together. So the nerve system the same, sympathetic nerve system and parasympathetic nerve system, cooling down and heating up. And one side activate and one side relaxing, calm down. But the thing is, when the neurons and when you engage with something, your whole nerve system start to work together. And when it comes to that level, it's kind of like you opening your brain, you opening your mind. So that engagement bring the openness to you. And in that openness, what happens? When in that openness, your perception become very clear. So that's how it connected to the meditation. Because when you fully engage, in that very moment, your brain start to get new connections, and your neurons start to get new connection, and out of that, your perception become more clear with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And so when the perception become very clear, your recognition going to become perfect. So when the recognition become very clear, and out of that recognition, your understanding become very clear. So with the meditation, we bring our mind in front of our nose and upper lip area in tranquility meditation. In the primary level, we go with the undisturbed mind. We tranquilize, calm down, and bring this whole strength of the mind and place in one point. It's another way called the unification of the mind. And that it is a kind of like a bringing a connection. So that connection deeply bring the more and more brain power to your action. So it is a moment by moment when you do, it is a kind of like evolution happen in your brain. Why? Because it is not going to go backward, irreversible. And you start to grow your abilities, your recognition become more sharp and clear. And in that level, there is something else happens. When you don't have that clarity, you always hold it to something. That's the very nature. So when the mind now start to recognize, then it become very clear with the experience, with that recognition, you're not going to hold it to anything. How that happened? So I'll explain it another way. As you know, when it comes to this mental practice, there are two different schools. So one is say, control your mind. And other one say, free your mind. So what you going to do? Because one side say, some people say, control your mind. Otherwise, it's like a wild animal. It go everywhere. Control it, control it. And some schools say, free your mind. Don't hold it to anything. Let it be. So how this both can work? If you start to control, who is controlling? Who is behind the thought? And if you start to make it free, what will happen? Where it can take us? So then, you have to bring this both together. It is not a controlling or make it free. When you're able to hold your awareness to the present moment, this both happens. It's nothing to control. It itself controlling that whatever that unnecessary things, it's disappear, and at the same time it find the freedom, the what we call the flow. So if you consciously try to do it, control it, the flow not going to happen. If you allow the flow to happen consciously, then you can't have the control. But when you focus to the present moment, forget about controlling or make your mind free. When you focus to the present moment, it start to find the discipline itself, and at the same time it start to follow the flow. That is the power of open mind. The open mind doesn't mean that you open to everything. It has a way to find the balance. And it has find a way to hold the strength. It has a way to find the clarity. So, but what you can do consciously, just bring your attention and stay with your primary mental object. So then by the time it will happen. It will happen. So in the ancient time to today, there are two mental, that the spiritual path. One is hold it to material world and find the success and happiness. And another path is just tune to the spirit and stay away from material things. But the thing is, now when you tune to this primary mental object and stay with the awareness and go with the recognition, your mind finds the balance with the material world and the spirit. Because this both we need. This physical body is a material. And at the same time, your awareness is a spirit. So you have to bring this together. So because the matter gives strength to your spirits. When the matter connecting with the spirit, it gives the expression. That's how, as human being, we come with this body. This all the matters. When they tune to the spirit, that expression happens. It is very neat. So that's why when your spirit tune to the matter, this means the body, where even the enlightenment, through this body, the expression happened as enlightened master. And another thing is, so the matter give strength to the spirit to have the expression, and the spirit give the strength to the matter. That is where the motion happens. So if there is no spirit with this matter, there is no motion, even the entire body. See, so the motion from where come? From our breathing. So once you die, what happened? Your breathing, the motion disconnect. That means any motion doesn't happen. How you recognize if somebody fell down somewhere, if that person have the life or not? How you can look? You can, oh, if the heart is, if the motion is there, there's life. So if the motion not there, you think, okay. Yes. So even the machines, that is what they detect. So if the machines, that the heart function, the vibration doesn't go, then the machine also start to shut down. If you look at the machine, if the motion doesn't happen, then, so the spirit is the giving strength to the matter to have the motion. So then you have to understand, you can't escape from this anything. Oh, I don't want this. I don't want that, like that way. So then you have to allow this to happen itself. Let it be. But at the same time, you have the awareness to keep focus. So that way, you allow that everything to find its balance. But at the same time, it happened with the awareness. It happened with the recognition. And when it happened with the recognition, your true expression come out of you. Because the clarity, the understanding become more clear, recognition become deeply, the recognition become more clear. And you have the strength and ability to express yourself. And that is the true freedom that you experience as a human being. So through this spiritual practice, you gain that when you have it. When you tune to that, you lose the pride, shame, guilt, this fear. These kind of things you lose. Why? Because the clarity is there. When the clarity is be with you, the connection going to become more and more and more successful. So that success is the freedom itself that you gain. And when you experience it with your own mind, not with others, with your own mind, when you experience that clarity, the freedom inside your own life, that is where you gain the liberation. So then it is nothing to do with the outside. It is more deeply tuning and gaining the wisdom to recognize the mind. Why? Because when unclarity mind can kill the person, and your mind can make your life hell. Your mind can destroy your whole life. Your mind can bring all the pain, difficulties, fear, everything to you. So then what does that mean? Your mind has power to gain all the freedom, all the clarity, all the victory, all the satisfaction to yourself. So it all based on understanding the value that hold it to yourself. So start from there. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit. And your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body, please, and scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Sopateva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. So deeply and gently, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And through the sensation, recognize it. Do nothing extra. If your mind go here and there, bring it back again and again. Just settle down with the sensation. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavatacha ammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Himaya Dhamma Nudhamma Patipattiya Buddhang Pujemi Dhammang Pujemi Sanghang Pujemi Addaya Himaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadi Maranam Ha Paribunjisami Idamme Punya Kammang Asavakkaya Vahang Hotu Sabba Dukkha Pamunchatu. Bless.